Hi, this is Carolina, the Soul Coach. Welcome to my podcast. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of a brand new series, Living a Life of Reiki. I was just chatting to our tech support, Alistair, and we were talking about Home of Reiki, and we were talking about the website and how great it's looking. And I was telling him how we were teaching 5 masters yesterday. It was such a beautiful day, and just love being immersed in Reiki consciousness. And he suggested, why don't you start up a podcast on Reiki, Carolina? And I'm like, I love that idea, because as you're probably aware, I do the Sunday Catch-Up podcast, and we do Living a Life of Magic podcast, where I interview people who are already living a life of magic, and just thought, I just love that idea. So this is the first ever episode of Living a Life of Reiki, and it's going to grow, and it's going to come together, and I'm going to use this platform to talk to everyone that uses Reiki. So I'm going to talk to people who are using Reiki in their daily lives, who are trained as Reiki practitioners. We're going to talk to other Reiki teacher and masters, and we are just going to answer people's questions. We can also use these podcasts to send healing. We can do so much with this series. It's really exciting. I'm really excited about it. And you know, when you just know there's a good idea and you think, why on earth didn't we think about that before? So I really think, it's going to be great. So in this episode, I thought I would just share my Reiki journey with you, because I love Reiki. I use Reiki every day. It's just in me, around me, within me. It's just part of who I am. And I absolutely love the connection that I have to universal energy. And that is what Reiki is. It's universal energy. And it was channeled by a guy back in the early 1900s and his name is Yusui. And he basically, to cut a very long story short, and there's so much on the internet about Reiki, but he went on up a mountain to see if he could learn how to heal. So he thought it would be a good idea to sit on the edge of a mountain to see what happened, because he was very frustrated that he couldn't heal. And so, he did that. 21 days later, he got a flash of something, inspiration, and he saw the Reiki symbols. And then he's kind of traversed down the mountain, and he healed someone. And after kind of so much searching and seeking, he finally found that he could heal. And so he started healing, and he used the symbols, and then they were passed down. And everybody that uses Reiki and the Yusui method of Reiki, or any actually method of Reiki, is attuned. And so you're attuned with the symbols, and those symbols are there to help you to balance, to heal yourself, to clear yourself, to bring you into consciousness, into that amazing bliss energy. And then we are then used as conduits for healing energy. And so then I was attuned 20 odd years ago. It must be 25 years ago. I did my Reiki 1 and my Reiki 2 training. And then I started doing some healing, but to begin with, I didn't really think it was for me. I loved it for myself, but to begin with, I just thought, oh, well, that's a useful tool to have in my box, but didn't really kind of use it too much. It was only till later on that I got to understand energy a bit more, and I understood what was going on around energy. And so then I started using the healing and started giving treatments, and I absolutely loved it and continue to still have a very busy practice. The thing with the healing is that you go into a state, a zone when you give Reiki, and you kind of go into this kind of like this bliss state. But the thing that can sometimes get in the way is the mind, is the thoughts, and sometimes they can be quite intrusive. And sometimes when I think you first start out, those thoughts come in, and then my mind would in the very, very early days would get bored, and then I'd get distracted, and especially doing self-healing and things like that. So that's why I didn't do it. But then it's only until I started clearing myself, started coming into balance, started evolving, that I actually started to do the Reiki healing. And yeah, as I say, a busy practice. I teach Reiki now, and I only started doing that when I was 50. Was never ever drawn to teach Reiki, and it was only when I had a bit of a dark night of the soul that I realised that I wanted to start teaching, and that happened just before May 2017. And I think we have trained, it's got to be nearly 200 people now. It really must, over the years. And I've now taught someone that I taught, Alison, and she is now teaching our training under the umbrella of Home of Reiki. And so that's amazing, because to pass on the baton of Reiki is amazing, and to see how people's lives transform, it's phenomenal. Reiki just has an energy of its own. It has its own time, because time just goes so quick when you do healing. It's such an honor to do treatments for people as well, to do healing sessions for people. And people come in with all sorts of reasons. They have busy minds, they're stressed, they're not sleeping, they're anxious, they're in overwhelm, they don't know what's wrong with them, they've been to the doctor and there's nothing wrong, and they just feel like they just need centering, they just feel like they just need kind of patching up, and Reiki can help with all of that, and it's absolutely fantastic. And the strongest benefit out of it is relaxation, and so that's wonderful in itself. And then seeing people's lives transform on Reiki 1 course is quite phenomenal. People change jobs, they get divorced, they find new partners, they travel more, they do what they love. And then seeing people go through the Reiki practitioner course, they do they do all the hard work, they do their case studies, and then see people start up doing Reiki and having their own business, and seeing them thrive, having their own Reiki business. It's amazing, and it's wonderful, and it's awesome. It really is. And I'm really proud of the teaching that Alison and I do now. It is incredible. And I will interview and do a podcast with Alison next, because it's Alison and we do the training under the Home of Reiki umbrella that I've talked about, and she's great. And Alison came in, and she will tell her story about the Reiki and how she came to be doing the training. And she's a teacher, and she just didn't even think, she was a school teacher, and she just didn't even think that she would end up teaching Reiki. And so I'll let her tell her story, because it's a great story. So yeah, we'll do that on another one. But so Reiki is just energy, and the body knows where to take that energy. And when one has Reiki, it's very relaxing. one can feel heat, tingles, cold, nothing, it doesn't matter, but the body does it all on a priority. And we're all energy, we're all connected, and a Reiki practitioner will just get out of the way and just allow that energy just to flow through them, through to the person, and then the body takes it away. The person's body will take it away and heal mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It's wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, it's truly awesome. So I'm just going to share a little bit of a Reiki story, and that was my dad had a very serious accident where he set fire to himself by accident, and they didn't think he would get through the night because he was 26% burns. And they air ambulanced him to a hospital, and then the hospital, so they lived in Roscommon, they transferred him to Galway, and then they transferred him the next day, because he did survive, transferred him to Dublin. And they had put him into an induced coma, and they really did not know what his success rate was, whether he was going to live or not. His kidneys before that were failing. He had diabetes, and they are with burns, they are the 2 out of the 3 conditions that do not bode well with burns. So they really didn't know what was going to happen. So I was very lucky enough and fortunate enough that I could travel over to Ireland, where he lived, to go and see him. And I went and stayed there, and I was able to give him Reiki all the time I was there. They allowed me into the hospital, and I was able to give him Reiki through. I just touched his head to begin with, because he was all tubed up and everything else, and I would just give him Reiki. And this was back in 2017, where I just turned, it was the 12th of July, 2017, and I was turning 50 on the 14th of July. And so I gave him Reiki every day that I was there. I would be there for a couple of weeks, and then I'd go home, and then I'd come back and give him more Reiki. And they said he could be in hospital up to a year. Throughout that summer, I just kept visiting, giving him Reiki. The nurses, the doctors, the team he was under were incredible. Obviously, the love of his family was immense, and just giving him that Reiki was so amazing that I could do that. And I would stroke his forehead and give him Reiki. And when I stopped doing that, even though he was in a coma, his head would want me to carry on. It just was it was like he knew what I was doing, and he would wrinkle up his head for me to carry on. It was incredible. Anyway, to cut a very long story short, he came out beginning of September. So he went in the July, and he was out in the September. A miracle. Honestly, it was an absolute miracle. His will for wanting to live, the doctors, the nurses, the hospital, the love of his family, and I believe the extra energy that he had, and I was able to give him by channeling that energy to him. His body took and was able to use that energy to get him well again. It was incredible. And for me, that there was no doubt for me that Reiki can work. And yeah, it's an amazing story. And I think if it played a part, then great. And, we will never, ever know, but I know that it made a difference. And of course, we can't say that it 100% made a difference. It cured him and all the rest of it. Of course, I can't say any of that. And it absolutely does not. But it will aid. It will aid someone's own healing ability. And, it's so super relaxing. And it's great to be able to we went into a hospice recently, and we were able to give Reiki to the staff members. They were stressed. That's a lot to deal with working in a hospice. And so we were able to give Reiki to the staff members, and that was amazing. And then someone yesterday goes into the Midland Centre and able to give Reiki to patients and to the families there, and to really support them. It's tough. It's really can be very tough, but having Reiki as a tool can really help us navigate our way through life. So if you're listening to this as a practitioner, as a Reiki practitioner, well done you. Well done you for doing the hard work, for doing what you do, for working on yourself in order to be the best possible person that you can be for whoever's in front of you. And well done for just allowing that Reiki energy just to flow and not having any attachment to the outcome and just letting that energy flow. If you're someone that's not Reiki attuned and thinking of Reiki training, I can thoroughly recommend training. Reiki 1 is all about you. Reiki 2 is about helping others and delivering and giving Reiki professionally. And then Reiki Master is just learning those master symbols, and then teacher. And that's it. You know, start to finish, you're looking at about a year to 2 years, I would reckon, if you do it properly. And the students that Alison and I have taught, wow, they can hold their head up high. They've done the work. They've done their case studies. And yeah, it's good stuff. And on the website, Home of Reiki, you'll see some of those practitioners that advertise and show what they do. And if you're thinking of, you know, trying out Reiki, then I can definitely recommend any Home of Reiki member for sure. And if you're thinking of training, yeah, I've said that, I would definitely recommend it. It's great. So on this podcast, we're going to just talk about different things. So if you have any questions you want me to answer, please send them in. If you have any queries, just let me know. I'm going to bring guest speakers onto this podcast, and I'm going to talk about different aspects of it, because there is so much to Reiki. You can use it in so many ways. So I just wanted to give you kind of like a little overview of my journey with Reiki, and yeah, just get this podcast started, really. I hope you enjoyed listening. There's so much to talk about. I could go on for hours and hours and hours, but I want to make it brief. I don't want to kind of bombard you on the first session. But what I think we could do is every time when we finish, I'll send some healing to you. And if you are a Reiki practitioner, you can be taking the healing, or you can be passing it on to someone else just by thinking of them and holding their thoughts in your mind. And if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know. If there's anything you want to discuss, let me know. And I want to hear your Reiki stories, so we'll have a compilation of Reiki stories as well. So please send me in a voice note if you've got a Reiki story, so I can share it on here. And I'm really open to suggestions as well. Home of Reiki members, if you've got any suggestions, if you want to come on the podcast, let me know. This is for you. This is for everyone. And let's just see where it goes, where it grows, how it evolves. It'll be amazing. I'm so excited. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. So, yeah. So let's just send some healing now. So I'm going to send some healing. So I'm going to go quiet. We'll just do this for a minute or two. And just, you can close your eyes if you want. But just open your heart to receive some healing now. Just take a deep breath in. And breathing it out. Receiving that Reiki now. Opening your heart. All is well. It's beautiful. It's just so nice. It's just so lovely. And taking a deep breath in and breathing out. So you can find us on homeofreiki.co.uk. Take care. Wishing you many, many blessings. And until next time.